Hey guys, Eric from Bloke Games coming back at you today. This is my second video of the day, first time I've ever done it. Trying a little some little new, still play out of the playbook of Old Man Grognard here. I cut off the light, make it a little, Eric from Bloke Games After Dark episode. But what I wanted to do is a video response to a video that was posted earlier by Antoine, the Complex Games Apologist, with the title of Talking About My Generation, Tabletop Role-Playing Games, which in turn was a video response to Ivanmike1968. So we're, kind of stacking them up here. But I really liked his vid. I really liked the Complex Games Apologist video. Some of the stuff they said, touched me, and he was, you could tell he's speaking from the heart. And anytime that, let's see, I'm very passionate about video games, about role playing games, right? They're a big part of joy and happiness that's been in my life. And so when I see somebody talking about role-playing games and being passionate about that, I get passionate about their passion, if that makes sense. He mentioned in his video that that Ivanmike had mentioned that for a particular group of people, the gamers, the older gamers, the old guard, that the world had moved very fast for them. So learning new games or learning new things in an RPG setting was sometimes frustrating for them because that was kind of their safe spot. And I think the generation that Ivanmike was referring to, is the generation before me. But I definitely have that same feeling that about like gaming being my safe spot. That's why I'll talk about in some of my videos, just making that gaming shouldn't be a sense of stress. I tell people that all the time, like you should game to have fun, and it should be a safe spot. So if the old guard or the old grognards, if they're kind of set in their ways, don't want to learn new systems, I do understand where they're coming from. I don't always agree with it because I like to learn the new systems and stuff, but I definitely do see why someone might have a negative response to trying something like that. And then in CGA's video, he also spoke about he talked about like his mom growing up had she was working already on a computer doing typeset, and so he didn't grow up in the Stranger Things era where kids could he could just ride his bike over to his friend's house and they could game every day if they wanted to. And for me, that was my I'm just a little bit over. I think I'm right in between, the soft spot in between CGA's age and Ivanmike's age. I think I meet them in the middle. But I do remember having the Stranger Things experience. I remember riding my bike over with tons of books on my back, playing games at my friend's house, playing games all night long, every day, just playing different games. For me, my very young teenage years, it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, first edition. That's what we played. And then for like my middle to later teenage years, before college, was Rifts. Played Rifts all the time. Probably played Rifts more than any other game I played, and I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in my life. So I understand that, but I'm also young enough to understand, the distractions and the different things that go into, I'm of the Nintendo Entertainment System generation. So I was the first generation to really have a prolific impact of video games. I mean, there was a generation before me, the older guard, who had like Atari and Coleco and stuff. But I was the first one where everybody had to get a video game system, and then suddenly everybody had a Super Nintendo, everybody had Sega Genesis, everybody had, and PlayStation. It just kept going on and on and on and on, Xbox, and to what we have today. And so with that, with different pieces of technology, I completely understand where CGA is coming from with the having the distractions and stuff. And so him speaking about finding it hard to game once a week, and for somebody who you can tell loves games, and like I said, is very passionate and was speaking very passionately about games, I wish that he had been able to partake in that experience, because for the older guard, and I was lucky enough to have that experience, that was one of the most treasured times still to this day in my life, and I think it is for a lot of people, just because we were able to adventure up to like the actually make 20th level. I don't know if I've ever made 20th level. I know I started 20th level. I know that we had several that was 15 and 16th level that literally started level 1 and did it by the book. So I can't remember if I ever made it to 20th or not, to tell you the truth. But I definitely know those, being able to have that experience of that much games going on. One thing that CGA said is, he said that in his, with the way his life is now, that there's no time for bad gameplay. Well, one of the things I wanted to kind of let him know about was that I still think there is time for bad gameplay. And the reason why I say that, there's not as much, but there still is some, because the quantity of gaming that my generation was able to get in back in those nights when we would ride our bikes over there and do play every single day, not all of that was quality gaming. It was gaming, but you gotta remember that when we talk about that era, the Stranger Things type era, that we were kids and we were learning the system. We weren't all playing by the rules, and we weren't so it wasn't always as magical of experience as it appears on Stranger Things, or or maybe as you've heard so Grognard's reminisce about. But the magical experiences that we had, it takes, you need good to recognize bad, if that makes sense. And I think still this day, there, even with the distractions, you don't need as much bad, but when you have kind of a crummy gaming session and then you play in an amazing session, it makes you really appreciate that amazing session even more. One thing I just wanted to tell CGA, he said that he didn't feel like he could ever speak with authority through experience, because he doesn't have the gaming time, like the in-game time of some of the older guys. And while you can't speak with authority, I guess, as opposed to that, I mean, I definitely think you played enough, you're passionate enough about this, you obviously study games. Even when you're not playing, I think you have all the authority that you need. So don't ever question yourself or let anyone else question you about that, partner. You're doing just fine. And then one of the questions that you posed, and I'll wrap up, was you said, with all this said, why would you watch my channel? Well, I could name probably 100 ways to watch your channel, but this video is already going long. But I'll tell you this. The reason why people should watch your channel is because you give awesome content. You give well thought out stuff. It's very entertaining. Your essays are wonderful. Your videos are very well shot and highly produced. So don't fret about that. I wish you'd had the experience that I or some of the older people had playing games, being able to play more often. But hopefully you've had a higher quality of experience. Because, like I said, just because we played all the time doesn't mean all those games were good. We remember the good ones, and we tend to forget the bad ones. But there were some stinkers in there for sure. So I'm Eric from Bloat Games. That's my 2 cents. Have a good one.